Did you guys know that I like My Chemical Romance? I'm not sure if I've made that obvious or not. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. It's a well-known fact that I am a pretty big fan of My Chemical Romance. They've been my favorite band since I was 15 years old. I've made videos about them as well as some MCR-adjacent topics, all of which will be linked in the description below. Unless I forget, then I'm sorry. MCR is one of the few bands that I have zero complaints about, zero criticisms really. I love all their albums, EPs, demos, B-sides. I even got really into all of their solo material after the band broke up in 2013. They were all pretty decent projects. Gerard's Britpop inspired Hesitant Alien, Frank's raw punk with Stomach Aches, Mikey's sort of new wave post-punk Electric Century, but the one I never see talked about, arguably the most impressive of all of the band members' solo material, is Ray Toro's Remember the Laughter by the genius himself, Ray Toro.
Did we get our forks? We can't eat beefaroni without...
Hello and welcome back to another video. If you're new here, I'm Trevor and I am eternally uncool. I make videos about music, music culture, and anything that interests me. But mostly music right now. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, then I highly recommend subscribing to the channel and watching the rest of this video. I believe that Ray Toro is not only the most talented musician in My Chemical Romance, but one of the most talented musicians to come out of the 2000s emo explosion. And he never gets his flowers. He's not on the cover of guitar magazines. He's not on any, greatest guitarist of all time list when he's arguably one of the best guitarists of the 2000s.
So it's super simple again.
I mean, yeah, he's seen as a total god among the My Chemical Romance fandom, but it just seems like the rest of the music world hasn't caught up yet. And the same could be said about his post-MCR break solo album, Remember the Laughter. Ray Toro's Remember the Laughter is the best MCR solo album, and I'm gonna explain why in this video. What I want to do before that, though, is talk about My Chemical Romance's breakup in 2013.
No, God!
I know, sore topic for a lot of us. Then we're gonna talk about what Ray did between the breakup and solo album. That sort of mid-period. And then we're gonna do a review of the album itself. I haven't seen anyone else talk about this album, so I figured, why not me? With that being said, grab a drink, grab a snack, get comfy, and let's get into the video. In 2011, fans heard the first rumblings of the possibility of a new My Chemical Romance album. Frank Iero told Rolling Stone that fans could expect music that summer, which personally I would have taken with a grain of salt because Frank's a little jokester. Nothing came. In December of 2011, we did get a new song from My Chemical Romance, but not one that would be included on an album. They contributed the song Every Snowflake's Different Just Like You for the Yo Gabba Gabba soundtrack. In 2012, we received more news in terms of an album. MCR was building a studio in Los Angeles where they would record the tentatively titled MCR 5. After this, the band released a series of EPs called Conventional Weapons, which was made up of the songs the band was recording before Danger Days. And these songs were great, ranging from the anthemic rock of Ambulance to the more punk rock of Boy Division. We heard more in regards to MCR 5 in October of 2012, with Frank stating the new status of former touring keyboardist James DeWeese, who was now a full-time member, as well as the introduction of a new drummer, Jared Alexander, who Frank called a rad guy.
They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
All seemed well. Fans were excited. We were wondering what the new album was gonna sound like. Were they gonna continue with the futuristic rock sound of Danger Days? Were they gonna do something more raw and punky like Conventional Weapons? What was the concept gonna be?
And it's gone.
Unfortunately though, on March 22nd, 2013, the band would announce their breakup. They issued a statement on their website saying, "Being in this band for the past 12 years has been a true blessing. We've gotten to go places we never knew we would. We've been able to see and experience things we never imagined possible. We've shared the stage with people we admire, people we look up to, and best of all, our friends. And now, like all great things, it has come time for it to end. Thanks for all your support and for being part of the adventure." And with that, all hopes of MCR5 was squashed. My Chemical Romance
was dead.
After the breakup, the members of My Chemical Romance wasted no time in finding new outlets to express themselves creatively. Of course, Gerard Way released his album. Frank Iero and James Deweese would form the digital hardcore band Death Spells. And after that, Frank would form Frank Iero and The Celebration and release their album, Stomach Aches. Mikey formed his band Electric Century with Sleep Station's David Dibiak. And Ray Toro would take to SoundCloud. Don't worry, he didn't become a SoundCloud rapper. Could you imagine though? No, instead he would release his first solo song, Isn't That Something? This song is a legit solo effort. It's just Ray, no one else. He said on Twitter, "I played everything, sang everything, recorded everything, mixed everything, myself." This song stands in stark contrast to anything MCR made. MCR was good at experimenting and incorporating different influences from different genres, but Isn't That Something is something else entirely. It doesn't really fit in with any of the styles that My Chem played. It sounds more in line with synth rock or soft rock. This was our first taste of Ray Toro as a solo artist, and it tasted good. Wait,
what did he say?
After this, he would go on to work on other people's projects. He provided guitar and backing vocals to Reggie and the Full Effect's 2013 album, No Country for Old Musicians. In 2014, Ray provided guitar for the Voltaire album, Raised by Bats. And if you don't know who Voltaire is, he is the Cuban-American kind of gothic singer who sang about brains in that one episode of Billy and Mandy.
Brains, it's okay. Not a matter if it isn't gray. And if at first they think it's strange, they won't think twice if they don't have a brain.
It wouldn't be until later in 2014 when Ray Toro released another exclusively solo song, For the Lost and Brave. Written in response to the self-unaliving of transgender teenager Leela Alcorn. He described the song in Kerrang as aching synth rock brimming with My Chemical Romance's us against the world spirit. I remember this song being a kind of big thing within the MCR fandom. I definitely remember the news about Leela Alcorn. I thought it was really cool that Ray wrote a song about her. It was really on brand with what My Chemical Romance stood for. In the same Kerrang article where Ray talked about the song, he also revealed that he would be releasing a solo album in 2015. And that album will be called Remember the Laughter. Remember Remember the Laughter is a true blues solo album. Ray played pretty much everything, recorded the entire thing himself in like his home studio. He produced it. I think he might have also released it on his own label. I'm not so sure about that one. The label was called We're All a Little Crazy, but I couldn't find anything about them on the internet. So if anyone knows if it's his own label or not, please let me know in the comments. This album is very interesting when you compare it to the work Ray did with My Chemical Romance, Reggie and the Fool Effect, Voltaire. It's truly unique in sound from any of the other projects that Ray had been involved with. And I think that's what a solo album should be. It shouldn't just be a rehash of what your group sounds like. Like, think of Ozzy Osbourne's solo work. It doesn't really sound like Black Sabbath. Or Andy Black's solo album. It sounds nothing like Black Veil Bride's. It should be unique to you, the artist. And that's what Remember the Laughter is. What I want to do now is do a quick review of each track on Remember the Laughter. If you don't like my reviews, then
Sucks to suck.
this is the only time I'm ever going to get to talk about Ray Toro's solo album, so I'm making the most of it. Let's go. The first track is the first song Ray released as a solo artist. If you want to hear me talk about it again, rewind the video a few minutes. I'll wait. We back? Okay, good. This song starts out with just some of the best drums and guitars I've heard done by one person. I mean, I know he didn't play them at the same time, but it's still impressive that he can play both of these instruments and have it sound equally as good. The drumming is simple yet effective, and the guitar is dreamy without being too washed out. The whole song just has this kind of ethereal pop vibe to it. It reminds me a lot of something like In Your Eyes or Salisbury Hill by Peter Gabriel. This song is a heartfelt tribute to Ray Toro's wife, Krista. I really like this song. I like how it sounds. I like the subject matter. It's just such a pleasant listening experience.
Baby, wake up.
Wedding Day is an instrumental track. It starts off with the classic wedding march and the sounds and, you know, atmosphere of a wedding, along with Ray speaking real, like, eerily underneath it all, and the sounds of a thunderstorm coming. Towards the end of the song, everything becomes kind of like this fever dream, kind of nightmarish, with Ray whispering, "Wake up." It's a pretty good instrumental interlude, real Danny Elfman vibes. Overall, good track. We Save is a bit of a rockier track. It starts off with those classic whoa vocals before breaking into this kind of 80s dark synth vibe. And this is a rock song, but it's not the same kind of rock as MCR was. We Save sounds more bluesy, like something you would hear playing in a smoke-filled bar before a tussle breaks out. It's been a while since I've been in a bar. I don't know what happens in those. But it's a vibe nonetheless. It really feels like there's a Stevie Ray Vaughan influence. Stevie Ray Toro, if you will.
Oh, brother!
I like that a song like this is on the album. It really shows that Ray can do more than the grandiose emo of My Chemical Romance or the synth rock of the previous tracks. He can make muscular, bluesy rock and roll. Ascent is another non-musical interlude. It's the sound of wind rushing through the trees. Kinda eerie, little spooky. It's only 13 seconds long and a good lead-in to the next track.
The great beyond exists inside my mind.
The Great Beyond starts out very atmospheric, with the rushing wind sounds of Ascent along with some quiet guitar strumming. Ray's vocals come in very echoey and ethereal, as he sings about the great beyond and roads untaken. The chorus is this big anthemic thing while still being somewhat somber. It's hard to really compare it to anything else. There was a lot of synth rock and synth pop coming around at this time, but none of it really sounded like this. I think Ray really set himself apart from every other synth pop band and synth pop project that was just popping up on the radio. Take the World starts off with a guitar riff that wouldn't sound out of place on Danger Days. It's very sunny and synthy, nostalgic even. It also has the same uplifting message that a lot of MCR songs had. Lyrics about fighting for what is ours, and making the world your own. Ray really has a knack for writing songs that are uplifting but not saccharine or preachy. Father's Day is another interlude. We have the wind and storm sounds again, children screaming. I'm seeing a pattern here with the interludes. I don't know if there's a story to them or something, but it's kind of interesting to have this break from the album and kind of be thrust into this kind of eerie and atmospheric space. The Lucky Ones continues with the same ethereal vibe as the rest of the songs on the album, while also including a kind of country-style guitar. This is another love song about being lucky to have the person you have. This one really feels like it could have been a hit. It really could have. Albeit
a minor hit.
It has that 2010s indie vibe to the chorus. How this song has not gone viral on TikTok is just beyond me.
Figured it.
More ethereal vibes from Ray Toro.
I compared him to Peter Gabriel earlier in the video, but this song really reminds me of Tarzan era Phil Collins. Oh no.
All the wars that you fought now, for how long? You lived through it all. Look at you now.
This song starts off with some really lovely strings. There's also some twinkly synths, which I'm just a sucker for. Or maybe it's a xylophone, not really sure. I think this song is about growing as a person and making it through those tough times. It's just a really uplifting song that makes you feel good.
We just got another call stating that as the officer about shooting at Canfield and Pepper Creek. I don't know who called it.
Got another interlude.
This one has a woman calling the police, or maybe it's like a dispatcher, as you hear people running and shouting in the background. What even are these interludes, man?
Hold on to a hope for the world.
I feel like Eruption leads into this song, which has a more overtly socio-political message. It's not in your face or anything. Ray is being open and honest about how he feels about things going on in the world. At least as far as messages go, this has to be my favorite song on the album. It's a very strong and clear message without being too preachy. Waiting Room is the final interlude on the album. This one has the sounds of a hospital, the beeping of machines, and a kind of dreamy lullaby type instrumental that can either stand for a child being born or someone dreaming? I'm not sure. But it leads into the final track on the album. The title track has a bit of a Beatles, Elliott Smith vibe to it. It's dreamy and poppy without being too sugary. It's also kind of dark when you look into the lyrics, because I think it's about dying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the vibe I'm picking up. But it's kind of beautiful in this grim way. Just saying, remember the good times. Remember the laughter.
He said it! He said it!
This album wasn't as widespread as Hesitant Alien or even Stomach Aches, but it did receive positive reviews from the corners of the music world it did end up in. Alt Corner gave a good review of the album, saying, "All the working and refining has been put to good use. This album is phenomenal." The Soundboard gave the album a 7 out of 10, calling it one of the more intriguing of the My Chem solo albums. I remember being excited when it came out, but not being able to listen to it, because I could never find it on CD, and I didn't have streaming for the longest time. But I listened to it on Spotify a few years after its initial release, and I remember really liking it. I'd come back to it again and again and like it even more with each new listen. It really distinguishes itself from My Chemical Romance and makes itself its own thing, while also not straying too far away from what Ray Toro is good at and capable of. It's a good look at what Ray can do as a musician and a songwriter outside of the band that made him famous.
But wait! There's more!
As of November 2023, Remember the Laughter has been removed from several streaming services, including Spotify. I don't know why this is. Probably something to do with licensing. This happens to a lot of smaller scale artists. That's why I'm such an advocate for physical media. These songs and albums, these movies and TV shows, they're not always gonna be available to stream. But the album can still be found in full on YouTube, which is where I listened to it while writing this video. I don't know if Ray ever intended to become a solo artist full-time. I think he just wanted to try this out, see if he could do it. And he proved he could craft a unique album that stood in contrast with what he was known for. I don't think Ray was planning to become the Phil Collins of emo. Now, Ray is back with My Chemical Romance, playing some of the biggest and best shows they've ever done. He's showing he's still one of the best guitar players in modern rock. And Remember the Laughter still stands as one of the most underrated solo albums of all time.
I want to hear from you.
Have you listened to Ray Toro's Remember the Laughter? If you did, what did you think? Let me know in the comments. That's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, then I highly recommend smashing that like button and sharing this video with everyone you know. I would like to thank everyone that has subscribed to my channel over the past year and a half. We finally reached 1,000 subscribers.
But
I have a new goal. I want to get to 1 million subscribers. Yeah, I want to have that nice little cool ass plaque. I don't know how long it's gonna take. I'm not gonna put a time cap on it. It'll just happen when it happens. With all that being said, thank you for watching. As always, I'm Trevor. Stay uncool. And that's the end of the video. Goodbye.